Sunday.
Let's have a bit of fun till our downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. Suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desire.
Hello?
Set my heart afire.
Noah.
Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our LRS Grand Finals here. It's all been building up to this. Tonight is the night. Everything shall be decided in this league after tonight. We have a little bit of a pregame show before our games. Joining me on the analyst desk is Dream Unforgiven, Ravensman, and PvE's coach slash drafting coach. And tonight, who's our analyst? That's no other than Kenshin himself. How are you guys doing tonight?
No, I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'm doing well myself, gotta say.
All right, perfect, guys. Let's get right into it. Just kind of going into the journey these teams have went through to be able to go in the finals. It was actually VX taking the number 1 seed, but it is VX coming from the losers bracket here. Just kind of, if you guys want to iterate how these teams have evolved, and if you still think that VX is the number 1 seed, or if you think that over time Enigma has become the new top dog.
I guess I'll start since I just played against VX last week and got 3-0 stomped, but shed a tear. We don't talk about that anymore. I mean, it was really a surprise being on DSG. You know, we thought we would be facing EGM, especially after hearing the news that Daily Peach would not be playing for EGM. Especially since Daily Peach has kind of carried EGM throughout all of everything this split. So when we found out he wasn't going to be there tonight, last week, 2 weeks ago, sorry, when they were facing VX, we kind of just assumed we would be playing EGM. And then EGM managed to actually win 3-1 against VX, which was a big surprise. Didn't expect it at all. So leading into tonight, after VX, so handily destroyed us on DSG, personally, I think EGM has the upper hand. They've got Daily Peach coming back, who just destroyed every jungler he played against.
He's so good.
He really is. He's amazing. You've got Karibo in the bot lane. Like it's a good team. It's a really good team when Daily Peach is there. And the fact that they were able to beat VX in the first place without Daily Peach makes me think that tonight might end up actually just being a stomp with him in there.
Yeah, good point. Dream, what do you think?
I never really got to see EGM play, but judging by the fact that they beat VX and then VX comes back and stomps very next week 3-0, this best of 5 is probably going to be one of the most hyped series, I believe.
I don't think so.
For any time soon or in the future, probably even more hyped than Winter Booze versus Tigers even. I don't know.
That's a high bar to set.
Yeah, it is.
The teams that are in the finals here, no offense to the teams that played before them, they just seem like they're in a different tier above everybody else that played. Yeah, and judging from how they both play, I really want to give it. It's probably gonna go 3-0 either way, but it's gonna be extremely close, like the finals for G2 and Fnatic.
Oh, all right. I like the comparison. And what are your thoughts, Kenshin?
I mean, we played versus EGM, right? So I'm kind of scared of the jungler. Like, I'm not 100% sure he's gonna play today, but I mean, I just don't really follow how the rosters evolve and stuff like that. But if he's playing, he's definitely gonna be a problem. Like his hard farming style with his team, kind of like bringing the game into the mid game without falling behind too much, and then him coming in with like massive CS numbers and massive amount of items, just crashing all the team fights. He can be really, really scary to face. So I don't know. It kind of depends on what he's gonna do at the end of the day. If they're gonna win the team fights, like pretty much evolves all around the team fights. Like maybe VX can like surprise stomp early game and then take some games away. But if he like, I think if the EGM jungler plays the team fights as he used to do and just kind of carries his team, then it might be like a 3-1 for EGM.
Yeah, definitely great points. Can't say I disagree. And kind of a perfect segue into my next question. Who are you guys going to be keeping your eye on tonight? Who are the key players going on from each team?
I guess I'll give it a start here since I've played versus both teams. I mean, obviously, that whole segment basically was just how is Daily Peach going to impact EGM's performance tonight after they already beat them last week. So, obviously Daily Peach is going to be a front runner for most impactful player in this series. So as we've gotten that out of the way, I really do want to focus in on VX, because while I do think EGM is a good team together, I think that they're more centered around Daily Peach or bust. Although, granted, they did win 2 weeks ago against VX, but I still think that their game plan does center around getting him going, getting him rolling, and stuff like that. So over on VX's side, they're a very team-oriented team. They play all around team, these rotations, objectives, all this stuff. Every time I played against them, it felt like, they were making team calls versus, when you normally are in amateur leagues, you see, a lot more split calls and somebody's off trying to be the hero. VX felt like they were all making it as a team. They were making the decision as a team to do XYZ. It just felt like they were everywhere on the map at once and all together. So they're definitely all on the same page. So I don't really have any key players on VX. It's just, can EGM find ways to break up the death ball they like to roam around in?
Yeah, completely. Dream?
I think that I agree 100% with Ravensman there. Daily Peach is a force to be reckoned with. Basically, the VKC of the LRS. If you want to make a comparison there.
Yeah, completely.
But over on the other side, VX is just, their team play is, you don't expect that kind of team play from amateur leagues, even as high elo as they are. You just don't expect it, because these people, they're playing, hundreds, maybe thousands of miles apart from each other. They're not literally sitting right next to each other like pro players are doing. So you don't really expect that level of synergy unless the team has been together for 2, 3, 4 seasons. And the fact that they can bring that out week after week and dominate pretty much everybody, I think last week or 2 weeks ago was a fluke. I think they were expecting Daily Peach, and they had they didn't know how to really play around this jungler that they had brought in, EGM. And now that Daily Peach is back, they can implement the strategies that they want to bring in before against Daily Peach, and they're going to use that and absolutely demolish these games.
All right, I like the bold prediction. Kenshin, you want to finish us off on key players?
I don't really know about VX, not gonna lie. Like, the first time I saw them, I was like, I'm not too sure about that bot lane. They're kind of hit or miss.
Okay.
The mid lane is kind of like the center of the team. Like, they kind of like carry off games from the mid jungle synergy. So both teams kind of rely a lot on what their jungler does in a way, I think. But like, I don't know. I think I can see an upset from VX, but I'm more sided with EGM just because of Daily Peach, pretty much. Like, I have a lot of faith in, like, I don't know. I just don't see VX just rolling over these games with their team play hard enough to prevent Daily Peach from taking over until I actually see it.
Yeah, that's completely fair and justified. And another good segue into my next question. How are these teams going to handle the draft phase? What are the key picks for each player and the key bans? For me, I know last week we saw Extreme Berserker and ICL. I'm going to be butchering that name all night long. But that Kassadin Hecarim combo was just so powerful. I'm expecting that to be taken away, but what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I definitely think Hecarim's going to be a contested pick in this series. Hecarim's played by both junglers. Obviously, when you're talking about Daily Peach, though, you have to take into account his full lethality Vi, which terrorizes games. I unfortunately was out with... I just gotten shoulder surgery when we played versus them, so I just was watching in horror as Daily Peach's Vi just completely dumpstered my team. So
I've personally been one-shot by that from stealth. So
yep, there you go. And then another thing, he really likes lethality because he likes Kha'Zix as well as another one of his main picks there. So as far as Daily Peach goes, that's two picks there, and I definitely think Hecarim's going to be a priority. I think this game is this whole series is going to live or die by the jungle. Will Daily Peach just stick to farming his jungle, which would then open up VX to be able to death ball around the map and kill everyone they see, which is pretty much their style? Or is he going to try and disrupt that? So really looking to see what happens there. But I definitely think Hecarim's going to be a contested pick. And if not, maybe Kha'Zix from, I believe he changed his name from I Can't Breathe to TES Pizza. I think he'll be there tonight. So really curious to see if Pizza plays Kha'Zix and if that's going to be another contested pick in the jungle.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew?
I 100% don't think that VX gets away with the Kassadin this week.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
It worked out for them 2 games in a row. After that, I don't think they're either going to let it through and they're going to have a counter for it, a counter that's actually going to work, or they're going to come out and just ban the Kassadin away so that way the VX can't play it at all.
Yeah.
As far as the other lanes, I think it's fairly even as far as the other lanes go. The top matchup isn't going to be very explosive from what I've seen. They both usually play mostly tanks. They don't really deviate from that unless the team asks them to. I don't see the carries coming from the top side of the map. Bot side usually plays lanes that can hold their own. So it's really just the mid jungle duo. That's what both teams rely on, and I think that's where you either win or lose the game.
Yeah, and if I can just touch on the bot lanes real fast. So EGM plays very conventional bot laners. VX has been known to bring out Ziggs plus a roaming support, Karthus, Syndra, stuff like that, plus roaming support, and literally just leaving Scarlet on an island while Happy Game roams around the entire map, which is what I meant with that death ball. Like, I'm expecting to see Happy Game leave the lane at like level 4 or level 5, like just say bye Scarlet, you're on your own for the rest of the game. So definitely want to see how that plays out.
And finally, Kenshin.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to evolve a lot about the junglers in the pick ban. Like, I can see just like 2 to 3 jungle bans from VX sides, because we see that small champion pool on Daily Peach pretty much consisting of like 4 champs, which are essentially Kha'Zix, his Vi, his Diana, and his Hecarim. So maybe just ban 3 of the more unusual picks. Blue side is gonna be huge that series definitely, because I think we might see a lot of Hecarim first picks in the series. Definitely 2 very good Hecarim players. I think Graham can probably nullify the Kassadin pick. I don't necessarily see it banned, because he has that talent. He can kind of bust out and just play to the side lanes.
Very good point.
The top laners will probably heavily focus both on tanks most of the time. So aside from Shen, I don't really see a huge contested pick in the top side. And yeah, the bot lane is kind of like a toss-up. It can be whatever. Probably VX gonna try to play a bit more aggressive bot lanes, maybe draft a little bit more to the winning bot lanes, while EGM will probably just try to get like their usual safe picks and a carry jungler. So yeah, definitely jungle focused drafts in here.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. And lastly, just straight up predictions on both the team that's going to win and the score of the series. Personally, I think EGM takes it 3-1 in a 4-game series.
I can agree with that.
Ravensman? Ravensman, I cannot hear you. I don't know if that's just me.
Sorry, that's me. I accidentally muted my mic. Psycho muted. Anyway, I'm gonna have to agree with EGM, but gonna go ahead and say it's gonna be a 3-0. Actually, as scary as VX was to play against and have been all season, I really can't get it out of my mind that they won without Daily Peach against VX. Like, Daily Peach, no flame at all to the sub they brought in for Daily Peach. Obviously, was a very good jungler, was still able to beat VX, but having Daily Peach in there, I honestly think this is going to be a quick 3-0. You're going to be home in time to kiss your mama goodnight. Like, it's going to be quick and easy.
Perfect. And lastly, Dream.
I guess I am the outlier here. I think it's going to be 3-0 in very hotly contested games. Like it's going to come down to the wire, 40 plus minute games to the side of
Oh,
VX.
okay. I like the just complete opposite predictions back to back. Last time I was the odd man out and I was correct, so maybe that'll be Dream this week. Anyways, guys, we are going to take a quick little break as we actually get the games set up for game number 1 of this Best of Fives. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in our eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are on our way, about to start the draft here. And not only is it exciting that it's LRS Premade Finals, I get to be casting game number 1 with my good friend, Same Page.
Yo, what's up, my man? How are you doing today?
Oh, buddy, I am excited. We have the absolute pinnacle of the entire split. The league with the highest skill and the most coordination supposedly coming in here, and now it's time for grand finals.
Oh man, I'm just so excited to see this game. It's gonna be an absolute blast seeing these two face off once again, once in semifinals and now in finals. Ah man, I'm already excited to see almost 2 bands coming out to the jungle, or coming from the jungle, coming from VX. Both of them are gonna be from Daily Peach's side.
Yep.
How do you think this draft is gonna work out?
So the next thing they're going to do is they're going to ban Kha'Zix. Oh, actually, they don't ban
Oh.
Kha'Zix. They take the Hecarim. And Daily Peach kind of getting the VKC treatment, or I guess VKC gets the Daily Peach treatment. He's so good on the champions he's good at, and teams just not allowing him to take those.
Completely agree there. I'm excited to see what else is going to be coming from the other side. A lot of talking from the junglers from both sides, both very, very solid junglers, very heavy performers. They're at the right time, at the right moment, and they're both able to carry and take wins. But I'm excited to see what is also happening onto the other lanes. Picking up the Senna first pick here is a very interesting start, especially that they are Senna is not necessarily a highly contested pick. I'm excited to see what it's going to be paired up against.
Well, they didn't ban Kha'Zix, and it's open, so Enigma going to lock themselves in Shen, another contested pick that we were talking about, and Enigma, Daily Peach, he's going to grab himself his favorite champion, the Kha'Zix. I'm surprised it's actually that one that got away. I guess they think they have an answer for it.
I think so too. I don't quite know or quite understand what could be a great Kha'Zix pick. Maybe a counter pick. Maybe they're gonna match it in something like an Evelyn, so they can have more of like a brawler or a just assassin off to see who can perform the best out of it. The Recton is gonna be picking up by Aqua. It's gonna be a standard for him, I think, at least to say, but it's gonna be a little bit rough into the Shen. Maybe building into the Black Cleave, or sorry, the Bork rather, is going to help him during the laning phase, but it's going to be a very scary pick. It's going to be Senna Braum, which is a very, very, very good bot lane matchup. How do you think Enigma is going to respond to that bot lane?
Ooh, it's hard to tell. Enigma is pretty strong in the bot lane. Kind of going to what the analysts were saying, VX do like to play the kind of just chill on their own little island to get out of that early game. And Senna Braum does exactly that. So much sustain, so hard to actually kill and punish. But I'm worried about that Enigma Kha'Zix. I like the Renekton pick top lane. It lets you play to that strong side of the map. I'm curious if we'll see the Chinese Renekton Italy combo coming up from VX.
I completely agree. That's something that I'm super excited to see, as the Alistar is being hovered there. But I'm actually, or it's a very, very strong matchup for the top side, and it's really going to put Shen on his limits to really see if he can reactionary just dodge the stun from the Renekton, get a clean getaway.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit sad
because the Cassin win.
The Cassin is banned away, choosing not to take their mid laner there, so they're just not even going to allow him the chance to play it. I think a pretty good idea there from Enigma. He looked way too strong on it, and if Daily Peach likes to play a farming heavy style in that early game, that gives even more time for Cassin to get through those difficult early levels.
Definitely, for sure. They really had to get rid of the Cassin there. I would just personally think that Cassin is just a strong side for VX. So banning there was probably the smart choice, but I'm interested to see what the final man's looking like. Picking the Vladimir.
Yeah,
banning
another
the
good
buff.
scaling pick. Banning the Lux away, I believe that's at the mid laner.
Definitely. Jinx picked up.
Jinx!
That's a really, hey, I'm either going to scale and pop off or I'm going to be set behind. I mean, I think that's a great choice seeing the Alistar Jinx there just to keep this Jinx maybe set up for the Jinx necessarily, or even setting for Bard to just actually roam with the Alistar or let the Jinx just farm away and get her items set ready to go. Like you said, VX is really happy with those, hey, I'm going to chill in the back kind of bot laners. So I think that's a great and interesting idea or concept that Igniva is picking up.
My. So we see the Nunu Silas locked in, a pretty strong skirmishing 2v2. I like the Silas pick a lot, actually. The Alistar Silas ultimate is probably the single most broken ultimate Silas can steal, and he still has good choices from the rest of the team. But going back to that Jinx pick, I actually really like it. Going against the Senna, it kind of matches the scaling, where even if you don't have an insane lead in that early game, you still have scaling options.
I completely agree. As the Ahri is locked in, I think this Silas is going to have a wonderful time against those ultimate pickups, getting some type of movement speed. I completely agree that Alistar is the most broken pickup Alistar for the Silas because it gives him that extra tankiness. He can be a little bit more reckless going for those tower dives, especially with the Renekton pickup. I expect him to be very aggressive, maybe even looking for some very aggressive team plays. And I'm actually curious if VX is going to change up their style a little bit in the bot lane. To try to counteract that kind of idea where Jinx is just going to be able to sit there and enjoy herself, and maybe looking for some, again, very aggressive Renekton TP plays with the Braum passive.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to kill that Jinx, especially with the Shen on the top side there. The Stand United is pretty broken ultimate. I don't think there's any other really way of saying it. And when Daily Peach is lurking around corners and you don't know where he is, it just the presence of him being in your game, I can speak to the amount of pressure there is you have to be constantly afraid. You need to be looking over both your shoulder on your screen and in real life to make sure he's not ganking you.
He's definitely one of the few people I've utilized that utilizes the rush system in League of Legends to the max efficiency, throwing in there all three of the bans coming from the side of VX to Peach. Are all three type of playstyles is hiding in brushes, getting that assassin off, or even the clutch kill to make sure to win any team fight.
Yeah, just going back to playing from brush, I can remember literally being in the game, be like, oh god, like they're probably on Baron, guys. I'm dead.
I've definitely seen some 80 carries coming from my team when I versed against Beach, seeing that lethality vibe coming in. But the Kha'Zix, necessarily, he's just really keen on counter jungling, and especially seeing the Nunu pick up, seeing how fast his clear is going to be. Do you think there's going to be any chance for this Kha'Zix to counter jungle?
Counter jungling will be definitely difficult, but I know Graham is very good on the Ahri and definitely should have priority in that early game, which will give Kha'Zix a little bit room to breathe. Shen's going to be probably having a little more difficult time against the Renekton, but Daily Peach, he just makes it work, regardless of how or what it seems like on paper. I have my faith in Daily Peach and Enigma on this game. What about you?
I completely am in agreement with you. Just looking at the teammates and the lineups and just seeing how VX typically plays, these are some very solid picks, especially that Peach is back in for this series. I think this is just going to be an absolute wipe, though there is going to be some chance for VX to take over this game, as the Silas is a very dominant pick, as Nunu has very good clearing, maybe can outperform the Kha'Zix, maybe looking for a lot of counter ganks, but making sure that Kha'Zix doesn't have any chance to get ahead. The Renekton, I think, is just going to have a mighty fine time until a couple items in, until he starts getting outscaled. But I think Senna has a great time picking up the Renekton's faults here. How do you feel?
I think this is going to be one of the most boring bot lanes we're going to watch, probably all series. I think basically this game is going to come down to the entire top side of the map. The top mid jungle I'm expecting that will be all of the action and all of the pressure is in that early game. But come late game, it's really who plays it better. Both very well scaling champions. I don't know if you can give the edge to either one. Jinx definitely does more damage, but the utility from Senna is in range is gross to give that champion some credit for how broken she is. I don't know, man. It's hard to say. The Sylas could be absolutely massive this game. I think that's going to be a key part of VX's win if they are able to take it.
And also, I do want to point out this real quick, is the supports on each side of the team. Happy is very happy to go and run around and go roam, especially very early on. I think both supports, if they are going for that more roams playstyle, is going to have some key influences on the other lanes and how it impacts the jungle gameplay.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see some helicopter plays where there's just all of a sudden there's a level 4 Alistar ganking you in top lane.
Yeah.
It's happened to me before. I hope they're able to execute that. If they can put that Renekton behind early, whether it's through Daily Peach or the Bardo support on the playing the helicopter game, I think that'd be pretty huge. Letting Shen breathe a little bit more and denying how powerful Renekton can be if he gets ahead early game.
Definitely, I completely am in agreement with you. The Renekton, the crocodile, the alligator is a very scary threat when he's ahead. He can just absolutely make sure the Kha'Zix is not going to have a good time. So it's definitely a great step back or a setup to set him back. I'm just thinking, just early clearing so far. How do you? Or I believe the Kha'Zix is going to go for. Maybe just the red star, probably going to red blue into Grump and maybe looking for a level 3 gank, maybe a little bit more greedy for my kind of play style. Do you think if there's any other way to kind of clear with the Kha'Zix?
I'm not a jungler. I don't play a lot of Kha'Zix. I've seen a lot of Kha'Zix, but the one thing I do know is Daily Peach. It's pretty hard to expect what this guy can do. I know Enigma likes to hide vision, so the enemy team just gets completely denied of any possible information they could get of where he's starting,
Sure.
And it just puts the pressure on the map that everyone needs to be scared of him. Everyone needs to be careful not to be ganked by him. I'm curious what they do. Predictions are live, though, guys. Be sure to start gambling your tokens and typing your predictions in the chat there.
And I'm of course not to be a jungler Andy here, but I'm just looking at it, and all I can say is it's gonna be a support jungle game for sure. The laners back and forth, the Sylas, of course, the Ahri is gonna have a much better time in laning phase. But once that Sylas gets a few items, he's gonna be a very, very scary threat if he lands his chains. Nevertheless, though, I am excited to see what these two teams can produce and how they are going to affect this game. Final predictions.
Unless Sylas is literally playing at a caps level, I'm giving this over to Enigma. What about you?
Completely agree here. There's just the sight on the Kha'Zix of the Jelly Beach, not picking it up for the counter pick, making sure he's on an uncomfortable pick is going to be a very scary thought. I'm going for Enigma.
Alrighty, guys, we will see you on the Rift as we take a short break, loading into the game.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to live this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down tonight. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up now. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up. Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the grand finals, and it would not be a finals if there wasn't an immediate pause coming out here. I believe Daily Peach kind of getting the internet gap as we speak. Hopefully just a quick router restart and we will be underway. But what a great way to start off.
I mean, I completely can understand that, man. I mean, sometimes the internet, he's shaking, getting the shakes a little bit, probably getting ready for that finals. His internet got the shakes a little bit and just died on him. Man, it happens. Just seeing from the start of the jungle, the items though, the picking up of the Doran's Blade onto the Senna instead of the cold start, like how Sneaky likes to do it into matchups like these, is of course pretty standard for most people's sake. But I would love to see the cold start here, as well as the Renekton going for the D-blade, opting into the D-blade into something like maybe a long sword, maybe rushing into that cutlass as fast as possible. It would have been fantastic. But what do you think about how these lanes are going to be stacking up while we wait until the game pauses?
Okay, so on paper, because you never know, Renekton should have a nice little time there in the top lane, being the probably strongest early game top laner in the game. Bot lane should be an absolute snooze fest with both teams trying to scale, get any advantage that they can find through whatever mistake or gank. I'm expecting the Nunu to be pretty powerful early game and at least put as much of a dent into Daily Peach's whatever lead he's trying to accumulate early game. But it's really hard to tell here.
Definitely, and it looks like the Kha'Zix is going to be opting into the Hunter's Talisman, which is the correct play here. I'm just looking to see if there's any errors coming from the top two teams. But nevertheless, the rune pages are fantastic, are practically perfect. The Braum opting into the Guardian, which is probably the best way to opt into it, especially like you said, it's going to opt into more of a snooze fest into the bot lane. But hopefully the supports make the bot lane, or not the bot lane necessarily, but the game a lot more interesting, because both the players are going to be a little bit more of the stronger suit into the roam style. They do see the Renekton showing the 5-point there, so there is not going to be a level 1 invade.
I don't know. Enigma could look for something here. They are stacked for the time being, but looks like they're just going to head over to their respective lane assignments.
Definitely, for sure. It looks like the Kha'Zix is going to be starting out on the red side like I presumed he was. He's probably, again, going to go from red, blue Gromp into maybe a Scuttle Crab, maybe an early first gank to see where places are at. Both mid and bot are going to have a wonderful early game pressure, at least, especially for the respective CCs. Maybe setting up that Kha'Zix for an easy, clean first blood. But it looks like the Sylas is going to be pushing into the Ahri for a little bit.
Yeah, the Sylas level 1 is actually pretty strong, with basically getting 2 abilities for the price of 1. He gets his passive twice, actually helping him clear that first wave at least decently. Get a little bit of relieve a little bit of pressure from being weak early game. So we do see some trading going on in the bot lane.
It's pretty good. It's pretty gnarly. Almost getting the Brawn passive there would have been a nice chunk of damage for the start of the game. Little less of a snooze fest than I thought it was going to be, especially that I expected them just to both sit back and relax and farm. But nevertheless, I'm glad to see there was at least some type of trading going on. The Renekton Ahri
top lane, the Bless Express gonna land the taunt here and get a decent little trade, but the early game Renekton just a little bit too powerful. But in the mid lane, that's the electrocute going down onto Isol there from Graham. A nice little trade to begin things off, landing that charm. I don't think Isol expected him to take that at level 2, but gets a nice little chunk of HP for it.
Yeah, definitely. That was an amazing charm. As the Renekton continues to poke down the Shen here, it's going to be as oppressive as possible as he can. Maybe if he should opt into a freeze at this point, maybe walking into it just to fork it and make sure the Shen's not going to have a good time. But he is going to opt into maybe continue pushing in, maybe looking for a back here.
Yep, looking like he's going to take I believe a cheater recall, as the charm does land onto Isol once again. They're going to use the Kingslayer to get some of the HP back. But Graham's still having a good time in this mid lane.
Definitely, as that REQ almost goes back onto the sides, but I actually think that was an amazing time going for that cheater recall from the Renekton here, getting the double Doran's blades, putting some extra pressure onto the Shen player. Opting in though, most likely it's probably gonna be even better for him to just freeze, especially at the double Doran start. Maybe pushing it in would be an okay play, making the Shen sweat a little bit underneath the tower. But it looks like the Renekton is going to be going for that Scuttle Crab into making that Kha'Zix get double scuttled, essentially.
Yeah, the 2 crabs already inside of VX, clearly paying respect here to Daily Peach. As Ravensman was saying, Happy Game took like 3 minutes for him to ditch the lane and go for some vision, try and spot out Daily Peach here, so keep their team safe for the time being. But Bus Express has himself a nice little slow push here, but Aqua Anthony not afraid to trade in the waves at this time.
Silas keeps going on, bringing on the pressure, but that's an unfortunate tower hit.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty decent trade for him, but they eventually taking the tower shot, and he's not going to win that, as Bus Express looking for some damage, saying he's not going to be bullied here just for free.
Definitely, for sure, and that's a good idea necessarily, because the Ari poke is just a monster if you just let it happen naturally. But picking up the fleet footwork as a rune page, even though as the as the pros are taking it, it's still a really nice idea into this laning phase here. Seeing the items already, the Dark Seal coming out onto the Silas here, what his TP was forced out into the mid lane, which is a scary thought necessarily.
Yep. Good to see some trading back and forth, but a nice Shen W, I'm not exactly sure what it's called, to deny him the stun. I'm a little bit surprised to not see the Corrupting Seal, Dark Seal combination coming up from the Silas that offers a lot of sustain and getting you through those early levels, as Aqua Anthony actually going to land the stun there and get a nice little bit of HP, but going back to trimming that wave up for the time being, as we see some poke going back and forth here in the bot lane, but nothing too serious as we kind of expected.
This is actually, even though retrospectively this is a pretty fast-paced game, this is a lot slower than I actually expected. But Daily Peach is looking for a mid lane play. He's backing back and forth.
Yep, Graham is pretty low. The charm is going to land. There is the Ignite. Daily Peach hopping in there, going to flash forward, and it'll be the Ignite taking down Isel there. First blood going over to Graham and Enigma. That's exactly what they wanted.
That's an amazing play coming from Graham there, making sure he gets the charm in a specific way where the Silas was forced down in a positional battle with the Ari, where he hits it, Daily Peach can come in, swoop in, not unfortunately getting the kill, but it's nevertheless getting the assist there, putting the Ari ahead just a little bit further as she picks up her first item lost chapter.
Yeah, on a first back, that's so powerful there. Alistar going to go for the headbutt into knock-up combo there to keep his ADC safe, but the stuns and the amount of roots this combination from VX have able to trade a good amount of HP pretty early on.
As the dragon is getting started up by Pizza here, this is actually looking to be a little bit of a scary opening.
Oh, Aqua Anthony does get the stun, but going to be taunted under tower. Oh, doesn't actually good. Some nice spacing not to take the tower shot, as it will be VX taking the first dragon away. We saw Isel steal the Kha'Zix ultimate here in case a fight did choose to break out, but Enigma happy to give that for the time being.
I'll actually definitely the optimal play here, just allowing.
Oh, but going in, the stun and charm is going to land, going to use the Kha'Zix ultimate there for a little bit of extra damage, but unfortunately not able to find a solo kill quite yet.
Definitely backtracking a little bit here, was the optimal play of Enigma allowing VX to pick up that first dragon, not even going over a rotation, maybe looking for a miracle steal here, as it wouldn't have been worth it. Just keep on farming, making sure just keep on getting those levels, and let Daily Peach do his work.
Yep, and I gotta say, Renekton maybe overstepping a little bit there, does get the stun, but takes a tower shot. Bless Express is doing a great job of navigating this matchup very well. The longer he goes without dying to Renekton, or Renekton getting any kind of lead on him, the easier it will get in the long run here, but now it's Bless Express's time to return to the fountain as a 3-man dive into the ultimate, but Daily Peach has joined the fight and is going to be able to trade one back here. Graham has showed up to the party here. Let's see if they can find any more. Already a 1-for-1. But flashing forward aggressively, able to land the stun onto Graham, who is dropping incredibly low, but it's Isel who's even lower at this point. Going to flash away, but Daily Peach still has the leap, and he's going to find one, looking for the second kill. There's the Stand United, a double kill for Daily Peach. This is why we gave him so much credit in that pregame show. Already 3-0-1, as and gonna have a nice little pause as another person from Enigma disconnects.
Man, what a terror this Kha'Zix is going to be. Peach is just going to be rummaging around the map as he picks up 3 kills during that fight. An amazing dive coming in from the Renekton Silas there, picking up the Shin there. Though unfortunately for VX, Peach and Graham just coming in from the brush, picking off Pizza, going through, and it looked like VX was actually going to get out there, but they decided to go on for a turn. An amazing reactionary ultimate coming from Graham, ulting to the side to dodge the Silas shackles, and just absolutely eviscerating him for choosing that aggressive play.
I gotta give credit to Bless Express there. He did to get a 3-man dove there, but able to respawn in time to get that Stand United off, and perfectly timed to get the maximum amount of shielding, as well as bait in Aqua Anthony there on their Renekton, thinking he could trade one back onto Daily Peach, but he escapes with his life and 3 kills in his pocket. The lanes that I think VX needed to get ahead and rolling in order to win this game have already been set behind and neutralized. Daily Peach is already rolling and snowballing himself. Things are looking good if you are an Enigma fan.
Definitely, and also coming back, he's probably at this point either gonna look for that Grum Steel, going to go get that Grum Steel, backing and picking up some gnarly items. He's gonna finish that Warriors. He's probably gonna get started on his Duskblade or some type of lethality item, Duskblade or Umbral most likely, as well as picking up some assists, going over to. Not able to pick up anything substantial, but maybe in essence probably going to pick up maybe an Amp Tome or focusing on his items for next back for that Ludens.
Yeah, just looking at the current item disadvantage that Silas is at, Graham has himself a huge lead, going to be in a very comfortable position for quite some time. Both bot lanes still scaling, but the key factors, the Renekton is set behind early game. Bless Express will be pretty much unkillable eventually, and Daily Peach snowballing and already quite scary on his Kha'Zix.
Definitely, it's a very, very, very scary situation. Maybe looking to see if they can maybe find him in his jungle, caught out, and maybe like 3 or 4 man him at this point is the proper procedure. But it looks like Daily Peach is going to be picking up.
Ooh, and Aqua Anthony going to be taunted right out of the teleport. Pretty greedy not to teleport to the wave there, and Bless Express punishing him with like a pretty much a 70% trade, as Daily Peach is starting that Rift Herald for himself already.
Definitely, and he's just going to go ahead, pick that up for himself. Wait. Does Rift Herald spawn here?
He already has the Rift Herald now.
Oh, I didn't even see the what's called pop-up.
Yeah, actually,
Rift Herald instead.
Didn't either. I'm not sure why, but a little bit surprising he's able to get that Rift Herald when it's VX with that Renekton in the top side.
Definitely, but they're getting that 70% trade, making sure that Shen stayed to pressure the Renekton off to not find Daily Peach, getting him the making sure Daily Peach doesn't get found out, and getting caught out at the Rift Herald is the correct play, as the Blue is getting transferred over to the Ahri. And
I know we were going to say that Daily Peach probably might struggle against this Nunu pick, but Nunu already down in farm, already down a whole bunch of gold in terms of kill and pressure. Graham's going to get that blue buff here and going to start bullying this Silas pick more and more.
Yeah, seeing Graham here, at this point, he can continue bullying the Silas, which is a proper procedure, but I'm actually really interested to see if, coming from just so much pushing power, especially picking up his sword boots here, I'm excited to see if he goes for some roam plays. Do you think he would be going bot or top at that point?
I think it makes sense to gank the Renekton. He is pushing, as we do see a battle of the supports here in the river. Doesn't look like too much is going to happen, but Karibo has rotated over, but a nice little sidestep by Happy Game to prevent that slow. And Daily Peach, he's lurking. He's hunting for his next victim.
Definitely, for sure. I'm expected to see this Rift Herald be dropped into the mid lane, most likely, as he's sitting there patiently waiting for his next victim. But it looks like it's just going to be a clean pop as he jumps.
Oh, and he's going to immediately take down Seal to about 150 HP. Just like that, Graham going to ult forward with the Ignite, immediately going to be able to get out of that. Senna ultimate not able to save his mid laner there. And that Rift Herald, a whole bunch of plates and a kill going over to the mid jungle of Enigma. Things are starting to really getting out of hand.
What an evisceration of that Silas. I didn't even expect Daily Peach to get that much damage, but just hopping on, getting that isolation damage absolutely blew him up, allowing Graham just to go essentially just dive a Silas, which is practically unheard of in my elo, and absolutely just taking him out for free.
To give Graham some credit there, it looked like a missed charm, but it actually kind of zoned ICL into isolation there, where Daily Peach was able to jump in and maximize his burst.
Coming over here.
Yeah, it looks like teams both setting up for some vision and looking to contest this dragon. The Stand United is available if something does actually break out. It's going to be Bardo dropping pretty low to start off here, but Daily Peach is here, so they have to be a little bit careful. Going aggressive now is ICL, but immediately going to be jumped on by Daily Peach. He's got the abduct there, but the Stand United is going to be used on Bardo. Meanwhile, Tez Pizza going to be dropping very low. Meanwhile, there's also a dive going on in the top lane. It's all over the place at this point, ladies and gentlemen. A nice flash charm will connect onto Pizza. He is going to go down. Bardo is in the middle, able to get a stun, and Daily Peach going to find him another one. Bless Express has teleported to the party after the fact, and gonna miss the flash taunt here, but Scarlet going to be going down anyways, as Daily Peach gets himself a triple kill, and what's an absolute wipe of VX as they get the dragon as well.
What an absolute play coming over Enigma, just absolutely performing. To be fair, I would say, or what some might say overperforming, but some may say they're performing just as expected. Just absolutely creaming the cream of the crop, just flattening VX's front line. And even though there was a little bit of pressure onto that Alistar, it didn't quite matter, as the Silas was picked out super fast by Alistar, headbutting him into his team, allowing Daily Beach to absolutely just take him out of the fight, making an instant 4v3, and Shen immediately found a angle to TP there, even though getting dived from the Nectin was quite a surprise to me.
It was actually pretty smart. So he used the Stand United to give his support that shield, and Aqua Anthony immediately stepping up to use that stun to deny the teleport. But once Renekton doesn't have the stun, he had no way of stopping the other teleport that Shen has, which is why it's so powerful with the double TP. So still able to get over to that fight, while Aqua Anthony was stuck just getting some plates as his team gets wiped.
Even though it was quite expected as the teams were posturing for the dragon, I'm super surprised VX didn't give it over, especially to see that VX just came from a really huge buy. Just absolutely, it's about just a huge item advantage over the team of VX, especially his jungler, where he's just not tanky enough to deal with the Kha'Zix as...
Oh, it looks like Karibo is going to be caught out here, but the rest of Enigma has rotated over, and it's Happy Game that's going to be taken down pretty much immediately. A nice rotation by Enigma there to keep their ADC safe and secure themselves a kill.
And also a great play as well, focusing, knowing that Happy Games is very much of a person that likes to get that vision, likes to walk away from the lane, even though it's a little bit of aggressive move to do, punishing that very well as the team rotates over and gets a free kill practically.
Yeah, already 10-1 at 15 minutes. They have a 4K gold lead. Enigma is here to play as Islael is going to be immediately one-shot by Daily Peach. How dare you go into your own jungle at 15 minutes? That's just not allowed.
No, sir, as Nunu.
He's rolling the snowball and looking to find something on the other side of the map, but Daily Peach actually has rotated on over here. Pizza dropping a little bit low, but so is Bardo's support here, able to get on top of Karibo. Daily Peach has showed up to the fight now. They might be able to find something as Karibo will drop pretty much immediately. Bardo's support will be next to follow, and unfortunately Daily Peach not there quite in time to turn that fight, as finally VX find themselves something.
That was such a aggressive play coming in from Bardo there. Re-engaging there is a fantastic, but they knew that they had 3 there, essentially waiting for Daily Peach to rotate over as fast as possibly can, but unfortunately it was not fast enough as they were just absolutely eviscerated by 3 ultimates at once.
Yeah, not able to get on top of the enemy team fast enough before they were already able to find the kill onto Karibo. At that point, it was not able to turn it. And Happy Game trying to find vision, but he was entering Daily Peach's domain there, so immediately had to take a left turn to safety.
Oh man, Daily Peach is just a nightmare situation at this game. 7-0, basically going around into the enemy jungle to pick off some free and juicy kills, utilizing the just the expressiveness as Kha'Zix can use, especially having that 1.5 second invisibility to position himself in a way that he won't be seen. But Renekton is going to be picking up the Scuttle Crab there, denying him a little bit of extra gold, but at this point, it's getting to the point that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I'm all for triple banning Daily Peach. But if you're gonna give him a jungler, I'm confused as why they chose to give him his main. I thought they were going to first pick it to steal it away, essentially getting 4 bans from him. But opting for the Senna here, and I think it's pretty clear here that Daily Peach cannot be allowed to play Kha'Zix.
Definitely not. It's definitely going to be a huge either prio pick or ban coming over from VX for the next game. But continuing on this game, I'm just looking at the team comp here and I'm just saying to myself, what can they accomplish? What can they have? The only thing I can see is the Senna Silas, but Silas is just so far behind at this point. He'll just need a massive amount of gold influx, getting that RE shut down, getting that Kha'Zix shut down, getting himself getting prepared and back into the game to actually deal with just his lane opponent at this point. How do you feel?
I'm not sure I love the Ludens. I definitely understand where it's coming from. The Ludens gives a little bit extra burst, but meanwhile, Pizza, he's trying to be in his own jungle, and by his jungle, I mean Daily Peach's second jungle there, going to be finished off by Graham. But as I was saying, I think the GLP, just the pick potential and the utility is way more valuable, as we see Daily Peach camping in vision that he knows he has a pink for, able to dodge the sweeper, and Happy Game is going to be the next to fall. Trying to get vision of this dragon here, but walking into Daily Peach, and he's going to be next to follow, and jumping over the wall into the Krugs. Silas able to get the Alistar ultimate, but that actually does nothing to a Daily Peach this far ahead this early.
What an evisceration coming in from Daily Peach, just saying, hey, this, like you said, this is my jungle, this is my jungle, yo, this is my base too, oh, that's yours? Nah, homie, that's mine. And just walking all over, just being a massive bully at this point, making sure he stays ahead and never falls behind.
And he gives his jungle to his teammates to clear, and he just takes the enemy's jungle instead.
Agreed. I'm looking at myself at this point, like you said, I'm confused about the Ludens too. GLP, but I mean, at this point, he's just looking for damage, necessarily. Maybe to get himself back in the game, but fairly to say, I think it's becoming a little bit too late at this point. But I don't know, a great team fight, maybe a great pick potential coming in, picking up this Jinx would be solid.
Oh yeah, that looks like what's going to happen. Standing United will be used here, but Aqua Anthony already on top of them, going to be taunted up there. There's the Senna ultimate to keep Aqua Anthony alive for the time being, trying to flash away, but Aqua Anthony able to find one. But Pizza is now in trouble as Daily Peach has arrived to the party, immediately going to drop him. He is legendary at this point, but the rest of VX has rotated over. There is a nice two-man taunt there from Bless Express, but the exhaust will be used to zone out Daily Peach for the time being. Aqua Anthony going to find a second one. Bardo's support will use the headbutt away to keep himself and Daily Peach safe for the time being. Going to have to use the flash as well, as a nice response from VX.
That was a excellent response to VS in a very dire situation, getting a couple more kills onto their next near.
Oh, but Daily Peach not done. Looking for the kill onto Happy Game. Gonna have to flash away as there was more members than I think he was expecting. Now they're looking for the trade kill onto Bardo's support, but an Alistar is pretty tanky here. Iso dropping low, but an amazing rocket by Karibo will find the kill onto Happy Game and drops Ice Seal to critical HP. He's gonna have to go run and return to base.
Where did his health go? What was that type of damage? That's a one-item Jinx coming in with that execution damage, man. That was absolutely stellar, as Baron is going to be looking like it's going to be picked up. The Nuno maybe he'll be able to contest it at this point.
Meanwhile, in the spot lane, Graham has just been taking turrets, but it's not actually a Baron. They just want more kills here. Daily Peach getting taken a little bit low, but Pizza will go down here. Scarlet going to be forced to rotate over, and now that Baron is free.
Man, I don't know about this game. I'm seeing the Renekton trying to do things at this point. Being 3-1 is very substantial over this laner, but at this point he just can't scale against that. I believe the Kha'Zix, just Daily Peach was able to just eviscerate the Renekton at this point, even though he has has about the same items on Daily Peach here. His champion just gonna absolutely just make him Crocs practically. It's just shoes for Daily Peach to wear.
Yeah, for the time being, VX has an answer for that Jinx if Aqua Anthony can get on top of them, but they just don't have an answer for the Kha'Zix. He's way too ahead. He plays from stealth so well, You take one wrong step at the wrong time, and you're missing a key member all of a sudden here. I think this game is a little bit too out of hand for the side of VX here. I think this is Enigma's game, and I think they'll be closing it out here with this Baron power play.
Definitely one more fight for sure for the side of Enigma is all they need at this point. VX is just trying to hold on maybe at one tower at a time, but the vision gap is just getting closer and closer, where Nunu's trying to get as much XP and gold as possible, but it's just getting taken all the time, sending him back more and more to a point where his even though his consume spite is very dangerous, it's just he'll die before then.
Yeah, 3 levels down too, so his smite not going to be anywhere near as powerful as Daily Peach. And I love the vision game from Enigma, just absolutely not letting them into their own jungle, really suffocating them out of any gold or experience or any opportunities they could have. And Graham's just been having himself a nice little field day in this bot lane, constantly pressuring, constantly pushing in, forcing members over. But now Scarlet actually might be looking for the engagement here onto Krivo and Bardo. But just immediately going to back off, realizing they don't have vision and could be flanked at about any time. Graham, once again, pushing the spot lane constantly, forcing one member to constantly stay, giving them opportunity. And they will be able to pick up that tier 2 mid tower. 3 of them try to find Graham, but just going to use that ultimate here to slip back on out. Looking for the charm, not going to find it, and continuing the push and continuing to choke them out of vision. Oh, and immediately Pizza has to flash out of there in order to survive. The damage from a Kha'Zix at 10 and 0 at 23 minutes is pretty insane.
As Nunu's roaring in the background, just this pressure coming on from Enigma at this point, pressuring on with that Baron, just whittling away the tie slowly and surely is super expensive and just resource intensive for VX here, and one little step, one misstep is just going to be a quick 1-0 victory from Enigma, but they're holding on.
They're doing what they can, but if taking a look at the minimap, they're not even allowed to have a single ward in their jungle. They literally don't have one. The amount of sweepers and just vision denial coming up from EGM is pretty disgusting.
Definitely, it looks like it's going to be a dragon over onto Enigma. I'm actually quite interested to see that Renekton being so pushed up and not being punished for it, but it just makes sense at this point. I don't think he can do anything with that split push because how strong that Shen is becoming.
Oh, we see an engagement in the bot lane here. Iciel going to be taken pretty low immediately. There's the second charm. There's the ignite. Stopwatch will be used to keep his teammate alive for the time being. And a nice Kingslayer. Stand United will have to be used to keep his mid laner alive. But both mids able to escape for their lives, burning a whole lot of summoners, and Stopwatch down, and that's not a Zanya's, so going to be vulnerable for the next few minutes.
Definitely, and I think that's a really key point. Even though he's at 1-6 at this point, he is going to pick up the Zanya's though, just enough. Probably utilize the reason why they're utilizing his stopwatch there, not to waste the efficiency rather, and try to see if they can pick up a kill. Unfortunately, it was not picked up, as Stan United was able to save Graham there. Is there any way you could see VX coming back at this point?
They have to perfectly play these team fights. Silas needs items. Senna needs a lot more stacks. But even like the later the game goes, EGM is in no rush to end this game here. They have the soul point for Ocean Soul, the best soul coming up. They have a Jinx who's scaling, already has 2 items. I think it actually only gets more downhill here. Kha'Zix, definitely a good scaling champion too. Definitely not going to be worried about being outscaled by the Nunu here. I don't see how VX get back into this game, but it is possible.
It is definitely, like we say, like Gerf says, anything's possible. But definitely looking over at the Ocean's match point for the Ocean Soul is a very scary soul, especially seeing 3 Ocean Dragons that Alistar is going to be super healthy through team fights, that Shen's going to be super healthy through team fights, and in between invisibility ticks, even if Kha'Zix gets caught out, is going to heal so much from that regenerative power of Ocean Soul. Getting the top tower taken there,
Yep.
Death Stance is going to be built from the Renekton. I don't think they can hold on.
This Renekton is super huge, but at 27 minutes, it almost doesn't matter how big the Renekton is. His damage is just not there this late into the game. He won't be that relevant. Just going back again, I don't see how VX have an answer.
Definitely, but I mean, they're trying their best. The Senna damage can be potentially really strong, but that stacks really needs to be that stack game has to be really up. But Kha'Zix,
Yep, flashing forward there, going to blow the flash of Scarlet, just going to trade those flashes. Graham going to ultimate forward, the charm will miss, and Scarlet going to live, or keep his life for the time being, but Baron back onto the map, all lanes pushing in. VX can't really do much about this.
it's just gonna be another victory. Just hopefully just holding on to the towers, just hugging it. Ivern just hugging it, type of vibe, hoping and holding on for dear life as as Baron is falling down, and Enigma is resetting for potentially the last time.
Yep, and there's the third item coming up from the Jinx. She's going to be extremely powerful at this point with the amount of crit chance and attack speed she has. Going to have the rapid fire cannon range for these, what I assume to be the final team fight. I think if Aqua Anthony can get onto either Daily Peach or Karibo instantly, and somehow teams are just able to get all of their damage off, there is a small chance they win. Definitely going to be difficult. They're going to have to play it nearly perfectly. Kha'Zix now with it. Oh my, he's almost full build.
It's absolutely astonishing, but even just looking at the team fight there is just looking more and more dire because 3-item Jinx is just what she wants at this point. Even though it may not be something like a PD, if you just blow her up, it might not matter just because the Ahri is so far ahead. The Kha'Zix is just going to be in your backline the entire time. It seems like they are going to be.
Oh, looking for the pick onto Daily Peach, not going to find it for the time being, able to escape with their life. Just playing this vision game consistently. As we see Bless Express and Graham pushing in that top lane, trying to break these rest of the tier 2s here. VX are doing a pretty good job of holding on for dear life for the time being.
But I do respect the slow play coming out from Enigma here, making sure they're slowly choking VX here into the point where they can just win by submission at this point. But
as we see an aggressive ultimate, where did Scarlet go? Graham absolutely one-shotting, doesn't even need the charm damage there. And that's a key member gone for VX here, and now they can look to Siege and break open this bit. Another good charm, as Pizza will be next to follow. ISL needs to get himself to safety. Gonna steal that Ahri ultimate and get out for the time being. But Happy Game forced to use the stopwatch, and is going to be immediately taken out by Daily Peach. Aqua Anthony is trying to recall in time here, but I think this is just game.
Graham's charm game was absolutely pristine in the last 2 fights. Picking out the center was a key target to just shut it down that mid lane. And it looks like it's going to be a victory coming over from Enigma.
Yeah, it's going to be Enigma taking the first game of our best of 5 series here, and in pretty dominant fashion, if I do say so myself.
I definitely agree here. I'm definitely expecting Peach to take the damage charts for this one.
Oh, wow.
Where are you looking to see?
Sorry, I was just literally...
Absolutely massive.
The words were taken out of my brain when I saw the amount of damage Daily Peach did that early, and comparing it to the enemy team, I think...
It's definitely looking like it's going to be a nice and happy Kha'Zix ban for next game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And while you can ban out Daily Peach, that's going to leave open comfort picks for the rest of the team. And Graham looking pretty scary on that Ahri, kind of looking like it needs a ban as well. I'm curious if they'll just choose to go the opposite direction and say, we can't ban out Peach, she's too good on too many things, let's just try and take away whatever comfort picks we can from the rest of the team and let Peach do what he wants.
Definitely potentially viable. I definitely think that can be a very nice approach to the game, just say, hey, Daily Peach, we know you're good, but we're going to make everybody else suffer. Let's and maybe win in a more lane dominant fashion to a point where Daily Peach can't get himself ahead due to just how much pressure they have in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, a good point, but I'm going to send it back to myself, I guess, and my fellow analysts here, to further break down this first win for Enigma. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analyst desk. And I gotta say, I'm pretty worried for the side of VX. That was a pretty convincing, a pretty dominant game coming out from Enigma. What are your guys' thoughts?
The other guys are still muted, so I guess I'll start.
Yeah, no worries.
gotta point out that I'm not happy with the draft, especially from Enigma's side. So first of all, I don't really think the Nunu is the answer into the Kha'Zix. If anything, you would have left the Hecarim open because Nunu into Hecarim is just a lot better
Yep.
than into Kha'Zix. Since it has like a linear engage and you can kind of counter that later on. But when Kha'Zix flanks, you're just, I mean, it's just over. So, but then again, Enigma, I really dislike the draft. It's actually shocking how much they outperformed this game given their draft. Like the Jinx draft, I feel like was absolute int. I think R3 should have been a Lux flex into then Caitlyn pickup with a Caitlyn Lux bot lane. That would have been really crazy into the Senna and into the Braum. So yeah, I kind of have to criticize EGM's draft a bit. But then again, VX absolutely misplayed their draft aside from top lane. So I'm not really happy with that either. I don't know. I think deserved loss.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do the ban daily Peach Champions game, I think not. I think giving him Kha'Zix is the wrong champion to choose if you're gonna give him a champion. Or have my other analyst join me.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
What are your thoughts on game one and what VX need to do here to bounce back?
I thought there was a big fat peach in that game, and VX had nothing to answer it. You could almost say they could give it to him on the daily. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean they left up probably the strongest champion from Daily Peach's pool up. It's just simple as that. I mean, we talked about banning, Diana, Vi, and Kha'Zix, and first picking Hecarim, and they just decided to leave open the Kha'Zix and not even value the Hecarim at all. So I don't know. It's kind of just weird. Obviously, VX came in with a different game plan, so definitely want to see if they can pivot here and bring us back into game two. But I honestly think EGM's got the momentum now, and it's just gonna kind of snowball from here. I mean, I'm assuming VX came in with a plan for Daily Peach, which meant that it did not work out in game one. So now you're stuck at nothing, and you're like, well, how do we do this now?
What do I do?
What do I do exactly?
And, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, if I am VX, I do want to see them put Happy Game on something that he can impact the map on more than just Braum. Well, I do think Senna Braum is a good lane. Happy Game is just too good at his roaming style to be able to, or to be stuck on Braum duty, I should say. So that's the only other piece of advice I would give to VX, but you would assume they had a plan coming in, and it obviously didn't work out. So see if they can figure out a way to fix that plan.
Yeah, and Dream.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything the previous two analysts here are saying. It's VX really needs to come out with something better than the new jungle. I think it was just such a weak point, and I think the Sylas in the mid lane, he didn't play very well either. And I just from that mid jungle weakness, it kind of snowballed out of control to the point where VX couldn't actually play the comp that they had drafted, which in theory looks okay on paper against the comp, especially because Nunu has such high objective control over the Kha'Zix, with his Chomp and Smite bit doing more damage than I think the only champion that can match it is Cho'Gath. So if VX wants to come back and win this, they have to go back to drawing board, take away the Kha'Zix. If push comes to shove, if they're on blue side, they need to priority pick one of those junglers and leave the Kha'Zix out. Something that they know that they can play better.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of the points you guys made. In the meantime, though, your player of the game poll is live, so be sure to vote on that, guys. We will be right back with game number 2 here. We're just going to go on a quick little break as we set up for the second game.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, 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 for you. Won't you let the light shine through? Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you.
and welcome back to the Analyst Desk. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys voted on your player of the game, and it was no other than Bardo support, this time on the Alistar here, actually able to draw a lot of pressure, able to keep his teammates safe, those key members, Karibo and Daily Peach, with the amount of CC and utility the Alistar does provide. Able to draw a lot of major spells on the side of VX, able to absorb them with that Alistar ultimate, as well as just kind of taking the sword for them. Oh, and thank you for the crown. It looks ever so nice on me here. Thank you for that, guys. The support on the stream has been incredible recently. Anyways, Bardo support, absolutely massive part of the big win EGM here has after the first game. The amount of crowns is making it hard to speak. Stop. All right, anyways, guys, we are ready for game number 2 here, and Gurf has arrived at the party, my partner in crime here, so I'm going to send it over to them for pick and ban.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into game number 2, and happy to be joining you. It's your boy Gurf back on the desk again, and same page. What a game number 1, my goodness.
Game number 1, it was definitely a rocket ship for sure, seeing as the Cosmic was a little bit of an unseen threat coming in from the VX side, as this Nigma was just literally saying, you know what, I'll take that. I'll make sure you're going to have a hard time. Peach does his thing. The Graham was just absolutely popping off that RLR, and that Alistar was just going through and making sure the job was done. But either way, everybody was doing the job on Enigma's side, and I'm excited to see what they can change in game 2. But it seems like the Cosmics is still going through.
I mean, the bans were a bit of a speed run there. I think the teams are pretty sure of what they do not want to see. However, after that last game with Daily Peach and his Kazakhs, I am a little concerned of that one coming back into game number 2 for VX. Maybe they find an answer for it. Maybe they pick something that can tank up this damage a little bit more, or at least be on top of this Kazakhs jungle pathing. I was talking in chat with a couple people about that.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be on top of where this Kazakhs is, because that just caused so much trouble in that last game for VX. Not knowing where he was, not having that advantage in the vision game, and that lack of information really cost VX. So hopefully they can find an answer here in this draft. We are going to see the Senna again. That's at least going to offer some nice range. You got the healing, you got the CC in that kit, but the follow-up with a Shen as well too. So double globals right out of the bat here for VX. So not too bad, but again, my eyes are looking out for what the answer is to Daily Peach's jungle.
See, I'm looking here. If you can't beat them, join them. You're looking for some type of high damage, high priority pick, something like a Grave, something like an Evelyn, something that can actually match Daily Peach's just burst damage in the jungle, and maybe even pick them off the surprise in something like an Evelyn, for example. Especially that you're seeing the Shen is getting picked up by VX here. It looks like, agreeing with you, double global is going to be a very, very scary sight to see onto the enemy's team, and that can also be a Shen support. Of course, it's most likely going to be picked up by Aqua here, but the Urgot counterpick, how do you feel about that?
That's just such a strong pick right now. I mean, Shen will have that early damage that we've talked about before, that you and I were actually talking about this Monday, seeing Urgots come through, but really strong champion nonetheless, and only gets tankier and bruisier and scarier. I mean, you have those champions that really have it all, and Urgot's definitely got a few tricks up his sleeves. However, the luck's locked in here for Enigma, something Kenshin and I were talking about in chat. So I'm sure they're very happy to see that one here. I mean, you call it a support, sure, absolutely. Still going to be dealing a lot of damage out, and able to offer a lot of harass to that range that Senna is going to be offering in that bot lane. So at least able to keep that distance.
The
but
Castle win.
I know he's muted, but Noah's screaming right now. Yeah, such a strong pick. But it comes down to, can you get that Castle into level 16? Can you scale up safely? It doesn't matter if you so much as snowball this lane. It's really nice if you can with Castle, but all you have to do is really play safe and get to that level 16 where you become an unstoppable force that cannot be reckoned with. But again, I expect to see that focus potentially go towards the mid lane there from Peach. Those early levels are going to be a little bit more difficult to escape as a Kassadin.
Definitely. It's going to be a very scary first couple of levels up until probably, I would say, about level 11, where you would probably see a little bit more of a safety measure, as the ultimate cooldown is going to be a lot less than it would be initially. But in prerequisite times, if he doesn't have it or just misuses his ultimate, maybe for clearing a wave, something like that, catching him off a surprise, we already seen how Daily Peach's Kha'Zix works. It's this high mobile, high damage, picking up some fast and early kills and some sweeping team fights to take over the game. Now, I'm looking for a very, very, very... Either Lux is a perfect example if you want to throw her into the mid lane, or some type of person that has like a point-and-click CC just to set up that Kha'Zix to make sure that Kassadin does not have a fun time mid lane.
Well, I mean, you are going to have that front line in the form of Urgot from what we've seen so far. That binding does last quite a long time, and from what we saw of Peach's Kha'Zix last game, it's he doesn't really need that much time with you. He's in and he's out, and before you know it, there is a corpse or two lying on the ground. So I guess, yeah, another little piece of hard CC to follow up on the Lux binding would be absolutely fantastic, just to double ensure those, especially when it comes around those early levels. Might see something with a little bit more range in terms of ADCs in this bot lane. When talking with Kenshin earlier, the Caitlyn was thrown out there. I don't think that's a terrible pick at all. You can throw the traps underneath of someone who's got the Lux binding on them, follow up with a nice vacuum, and you are getting a ton of damage out in a very, very short amount of time.
Definitely.
But getting into the second round of the draft here, this tail end of it, as we still need a top end support from VX, but it looks like the ADC in mid still remaining from Enigma. And wow, that's
Jarvan.
okay. So
I mean,
Jarvan
just
Kha'Zix.
Sorry, go ahead.
What? And I was actually going to ask you, so you go ahead. What do you think this Kha'Zix versus the Jarvan in the jungle? What kind of playstyle are we looking at? And
so I mean, just the Jarvan at this point is having just has a little bit of a hard time at this point. He doesn't have a real idea of just real identity. He can go tank at this point. It's probably something that he does, but again, something that I'm true to my heart. If you can't beat him, join him, especially in this current jungle meta where you see Nidalees, you see Graves, you see or in general high DPS junglers. I'm actually expecting this Jarvan to be full lethality.
Wow. Well, we are going to see the Galio lock in here as the B4 for Enigma as their mid laner, and there's going to be the Caitlyn locked in here for Enigma. So that is the bot lane that Kenshin was just so excited about in game number 1, but we finally get to see it come out here for game 2. I mean, yeah, these champions, the Lux and Caitlyn, may not be the most mobile, but they're able to keep their distance, and that's going to be an important part if Jarvan does end up looking for a gank. However, you have the answer from Peach. He seems to be everywhere on the map that he needs to be, and of course, once Graham hits 6 on his Galio, those heroic entrances are going to cause quite a ruckus when it comes to answering up on any moves that VX are going to try and make here.
And like you said, but I'm actually also quite interested. I know I might, just interested in general as the Morgana support is being picked up on the final pick. I think that's a great answer to a Caitlyn Lux lane. Presumably making sure the Galio is probably not going to be playing support. But either way, if you're looking to see the Galio mid there, I think that's a great answer into the Kassadin, especially early on. Setting up the Kha'Zix there is going to be in a very essential just motion. Getting that Kha'Zix ahead, making sure that Kassadin falls behind is a great way to pick up that just massive AoE taunt that comes from the Galio, as well as going over to the top lane. I don't know, man. I just think that I see the Enigma team and I look up, hey, there's another setup for Kha'Zix. There's a great initiate coming from Urgot using that disdain. Lux binding is always going to be very, very scary. Kirk's entrance is always going to be on Kha'Zix's back, especially if he wants to look into anything very particular, like how we've seen in the first game where he sits on his pink ward in the NRB bush and utilizes the fog of war very effectively. pop somebody, get out, and if he's in any sticky situations, like let's just say he gets caught out by a Morq or a Jarvan EQ, or nevertheless the Shen taunt, it's just gonna be a sour time, especially with the Hurricane entrance.
Chat is honestly super big brain right now and giving us some. They're feeding us our. They're doing our job for us right now, which is actually. So I'm gonna bring up a couple points that they've brought up, and that is this bot lane that we are about to see, and that Morgana pick. Yeah, well, it might be nice to have that black shield. That's a safety pick at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's an answer to say, okay, we're afraid of what we're going up into, and we need to reduce the damage that is coming in. It's essentially damage control at this point.
Sure.
Because the push power that the Lux Caitlyn is going to have is going to be monumental. They are going to be shoving this lane in, which I mean could potentially give Jarvan an opportunity or a window to look down bot lane. However, pushing them in, that means you get the majority of this bot side control, and having a Galio in the mid lane, that just sets you up for that whole bot side of the map dominance. Knowing how important these dragons are in this meta and setting up for these early objectives is going to make a huge difference coming into this game. And on top of that, another point Kenshin also brought up in chat was the fact that, you know, you have this bot lane, this Lux Caitlyn, that's able to push you in, that's able to keep their distance from you at the same time. It's going to also make it very difficult for Senna to be getting her stacks and actually walking up to get them, because it does become a risk. You know, do I go for the stack, or, you know, might just have to give it up? Because if I walk forward, there's always a chance of getting hit by a Caitlyn auto, or even worse, a binding and trap follow-up with the Caitlyn Q. So you have to play this one very, very safe, and that's really going to impede the Senna's ability to scale up.
And I've personally experienced this as well, where I have lack of mid bottom control, where Daily Peach has the ability just to come in, take those dragons whenever he wants to, just set himself up like he always likes to do, and just be able to run the game through. I completely agree that Morgana is just a safety pick, but it also can be a little bit dangerous. This is all on Pizza necessarily, on getting that bot lane to a situation where the Senna can start being able to gets her stacks to a comfortable position where she can start even potentially outranging the Caitlyn, but that's just hitting late game at that point. And I haven't seen one way, shape, or another where Daily Peach has hit a late game.
Yeah, it's he does not like to let off the gas pedal one little bit. I have something in my head, but I want to ask you first, same page. Who do you think is taking game number 2 here tonight?
Now, of course, there's always going to be a bias for DLEP. He is an absolute powerhouse. He's on his main champion once again, just like Kha'Zix's passive, an unseen threat. He's definitely an unseen threat in this game. Now, I just am personally just looking at both teams, looking up what they have and what they potentially can do. I just have to give it to Enigma Gaming again.
Yep. And before I say my piece here, the predictions are open, my friends. So go ahead, check out how many tokens you got, and feel free to just go wild with those tokens, as you can put them on whatever team you think is going to win here tonight. But I think I got to go with EGM as well too. And I'm laughing at Ketchup, because he's in my brain right now. He was just going to say what I was going to say. This comp is based around this Kassadin getting ahead, so I think if VX wants to have a chance in this, they need to sit back, play it safe, and scale the hell up, especially knowing that they have a Senna and Kassadin, especially Kassadin. However, if we talk about, Jarvan setting up his bot lane for some success and making sure that they don't fall behind, that means this mid lane is going to be, another open window for Daily Peach to look for with Graham on that Galio. So, you play as safe as you want, but those early levels are still going to be a little scary for Cass, knowing Daily Peach's Kha'Zix is floating around this map. And once we get down to these fights, I mean, Urgot can offer a lot in terms of that front line. So we're going to see a lot of damage being soaked up by both Bless Express and Graham in those fights, and the ability to really just pump out the damage from Karibo and Bardo's support. So you have your setup right there for EGM. And then you just have to worry about where this Kha'Zix is going to flank you from, because it's going to be from somewhere. You got to be expecting it. So this game, I really want to see VX doing a better job of getting those wards up and making sure they don't just passively play the warding game, but they're actively working as a team to control vision around key points of this map, because that's where they got really, really punished last game, was not knowing where Daily Peach was.
And just for a little side note here as well, putting Morgana onto Happy is going to be basically saying, I need to sit by the Senna and make sure she doesn't fall behind too much, especially that she's a scaling AD carry, which also limits Happy's gameplay of getting that roaming style, pressuring the map, doing anything that he could to get the team ahead to a point where they can deal with that jungle threat. Nevertheless, that's all I can really say at this point until we can actually see the laning phase and see how everybody is stacking up in the game.
Yep, and we really got to keep an eye on where these junglers are starting, where they plan on going. But guys, we are going to take a small break, but when we get back, we'll be hopping onto the Rift for game number 2 of our grand final series. We'll see you guys in a few.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in us. They know we'll burn down tonight. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and boy, do we have a game for you right here, as we are just hopping into the second game of the VX versus EGM grand final to decide who's going to be the LRS Premade champions. But VX having a bit of a rough game, number 1. We'll see if they can take this one back, but there are some conditions that they need to meet, and some things they need to watch out for, especially knowing that Daily Peach's Kha'Zix has returned here for game 2 and was not very nice to them in that first one.
Definitely not, for sure. It's definitely going to be a uphill battle coming from VX, as Kassadin is looking for that castle win. The real difficulty, as we were talking a little bit during the break, is just having him to a position where he doesn't fall too far behind from just the jungle pressure of just Galio with Kha'Zix. But as well as him not in a position where he has to overextend for CS to die. It's just a very scary thought, and that's why I, even though I'm going to push this a little bit harder, that's why I guess the Jarvan has to pick up some of the slack. Going full tank Jarvan here basically is relying on the Senna and the Kassadin to do all the damage. And without that early push onto the J4 to get them ahead, it's going to be a very, very difficult spot for VX to really get to that mid to late game where they really shine with this comp.
I just want to bring a quick attention to the early vision we're seeing in this game. Ward placed on the red buff of Pizza there, so EGM is going to know where this Jarvan has started off and have a good idea of where the tracking and where this jungler is. We did actually see Happy Game pick up an early control ward instead of going for the traditional pots start. So that is going to be sitting in the river around the jungle and might be able to catch this Kha'Zix out, but I don't know if they see him unless he goes for that scuttle soon. So we'll have to see where this pathing takes him. We'll have to see if that ward placed by VX will spot someone out. We do see a little bit of trading so far across the lanes as we're looking, but at least there is some attention being given to vision. It does, we'll see if the actual placement of that is going to count. I would have maybe liked to see it right in that river brush instead of more
The
of a
picks over?
defensive one? Yes, the picks crush.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I'm actually very interested to see that interest to detail picking up that pink ward early, basically conceding any possible chance that they're going to be fighting in the bot lane, or they're just going to sit back, relax, and let them push into them. But necessarily the case, I'm very interested in the Kha'Zix starting blue and walking with the Jarvan at this point, because Jarvan is going to be, or he's basically saying to us that he's conceding the Scuttle Crab, and he's probably going to concede top Scuttle Crab too, like he did in the first game. Although we saw what happened last game.
Yeah, see Pizza starting up this crab right now, kind of hanging around waiting for that one. But so far we have a bit, relatively quiet game. That nice little taunt there from Graham in the mid lane. As again,
Nice little
we got to watch this as the nice binding is going to come down, drop onto Skarlik. Some trading from back and forth between ADCs as Happy's now trying to push this one on back, but that Guardian actually popping from Bardo support is going to soak up a little bit of this damage. So ever so slightly in favor of EGM in that bot trade so far. You do see Pizza kind of lurking around this bot side. Will catch out some vision. So they are going to know Jarvan is floating around there. Graham actually quite pushed up and needs to kind of hightail it on out of here before he gets jumped on by this Jarvan.
Man, Pizza's looking for every little spot, noticing that the Kha'Zix is going to be topside as his entire bot side is cleared. Necessarily, it looks like he's just going to be going for, or he did pick up the top Scuttle Crab. Not getting double scuttled this game is a nice little treat for him, making sure he's going to stay consistent, and he's already up 2 camps onto the Jarvan, which is
oh boy, some good
quite
trading again in the bot lane here. We're going to see Graham land another taunt onto LCL. I hope I'm saying that right. I think that sounds right there.
Mhm.
But, these bindings so far have been on point, minus that one. I take it back. I'm so sorry. I was just going to say, these bindings are looking really good. Just to miss them, but that is the life of a caster cursor. It is what it is. Pizza, again, floating around this top side. A threat of a gank is there, but has not pulled the trigger quite on this. And we will see an Infernal Drake on the map first this game. So we'll see which one of these teams are going to prioritize that little bit of extra early game damage.
But like you said, when we were talking about this, we just talked about the beginning of the
Oh,
fight.
take a look at mid right now as the taunt will land onto this Cassidon, and immediately Daily Peach is there, picks up first blood, and this is exactly what we said.
Exactly.
VX did not want to happen to them in this early game.
That is exactly what I want to see from the Galio player coming in with just the Justice Punch, uppercutting the Cassidon into oblivion with a taunt, just supportive damage, so Daily Peach can come in and sweep that kill underneath VX's feet, setting that, even though TP was blown there, it is setting Cassidon behind just a little bit. Necessarily wasn't too damaging overall, but still a great gold influx coming in from first blood for Daily Peach here.
And I mean that kind of. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I'm just seeing this again. Another talent landing down from Graham. Caston still trading in. He's starting to get some damage now. Graham is getting a little bit low and is forced to back underneath this turret. What I wanted to bring attention to was the Predator on Graham. So not going to be the tankiest of tanks. However, I think the goal here from EGM is just make sure Galio runs at Caston or runs at whatever group of VX players are around and get a taunt off, because you have teammates that can pump up that damage, and you have, the form of somewhat of a tank there from Urgot, because I mean, he also has pressed the attack, so it again, not the tankiest of tanks, but still will have a little bit of sustainability.
I'm actually very surprised to see the Predator there. Didn't even notice it at the beginning of the game. I was actually talking with you on Monday about Predator Galio coming in and maybe blowing some people up, but we do see it into this game. Now, seeing it, I truly believe Predator Galio's main focus is those early potential plays, maybe into the mid game as well, where you can kind of Predator into the backline and getting that massive top off, because you're just literally a nice giant statue running at couple squishy backline targets. Though I don't quite agree with it necessarily, just to see that the Jarvan and the Shen are going to be looking for that backline. The Cassidy is also going to be continuing looking to jump around, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for that Galio to really just run up and press W on people, just because of how many dashes they potentially have to just cancel the Predator.
Yeah, but what I have seen in fights before is that, especially around the Dragon Pit, where you have these teams setting up, and once that trigger is pulled and you commit to going in on these dragons or on these fights, generally the times we'll see the Galio ult on in or even flank from behind the Tribush and come around back. We've seen some really big taunts get set up there. Is actually another taunt is going to be run by Anthony. Good little transition there. Blex Express trying to get some trading back on, but Shen in these early levels will have that ever so slight advantage. Even look at the items too. Just a lot of health between the both of them at this point.
They're only stacking health, which is exactly what we want to see, as a Black Cleaver is going to be going over to the Urgot. I'm actually interested to see if the TM at first is going to be touched onto the Shen here, or it looks like it's probably going to be a Sunfire Cape instead. But nevertheless, I'm just looking at this point and seeing Daily Peach picking up that Inferno with no...
nice binding bot, but it's a tension that we got to bring up top. Less Express actually going to be jumped on. The Cataclysm comes down, but the flash immediately to get on out. Urgot's trying to make his way out, but a couple more auto attacks and a little flag to the back there will do it, as VX find themselves a kill.
That was a really nice pickup.
Might have to interrupt you for a second, as we have some more fighting in the mid, possibly, but they disengage. Actually, looking to go back in is ICL. I think that's how I was told to pronounce it, ICL. And look at Pizza just lurking in the side. I mean, Daily Peach is not too far off at this point, so there was a gank. I'm sure he'd be there to follow up on it very soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, this game got quite a bit louder as another binding hits.
Oh, beautiful binding, beautiful final spark, but it's just not enough damage quite yet. However, it's enough to make sure that VX are really stuck under this tower. If they walk up anymore, they're going to continue to take that harass, and that's why we see the back actually coming out from Happy Game.
Wow, this is a very, very interesting situation, as Galio is being picked up into it.
Oh, look at this. Like... He's actually using the Predator to go in. He's going to land. Oh, not land the top because the flash is actually being burned. We saw the start of that Rift Herald actually by Pizza, but he opts to back on off, possibly trying to get to mid lane to counter gank, but the flash being burned. But, knowing that's down, I'm probably going to see a return gank from Daily Peach in the next couple minutes.
Definitely. It was a really nice utilization of the Predator, getting underneath the Cassidy's turret, following him even through Riftwalk, forcing this flash out. It's going to be very detrimental, especially during these early levels, as we predicted. Nevertheless, I'm actually pretty happy with how the Cassidy has been playing throughout the lane. Even though he is 0-1 into the lane phase, he's been farming up quite tremendously, actually out-farming Galio, which is pretty surprising, especially that I would be a little bit scared of, just due to the fear factor of last game. But I'm sad to see the Jarvan going tech. I won't lie to you. Just a little bit, especially even, I don't know. Even though the tank is very helpful, and nonetheless, it's going to be another frontline just target. It's going to be, even though it's going to be entering the backline, it's just going to have a hard time if the Urgot's assisting, if he gets that disdain off onto him.
I will say this, though. We might see another little something in the mid lane, as Graham looking to go in, does land a top, but ICL is there. Cataclysm coming down from Pizza, but Daily Peach is in waiting. Couple turret shots taken, and here comes the heroic entrance. Where did the Cassidy go? He's just picked up so damn fast. Pizza tries to get away, but one last taunt will keep him there. And this EGM squad is so damn strong. I was just going to say, as for some reason, Hulk Anthony down in the bot lane, just gonna say, this is the attitude of this EGM squad. This is why we see a Predator, a Galio being picked up, because they're not afraid coming into this game. They have faith in each other. They're able to trust in their teammates and really know that, listen, my boys got my back right now, and I know Daily Peach is going to be here no matter what. So that's really nice to see that they're this strong. But on the flip side, over on VX, that's why we might see, you know, these more defensive builds coming out of a Jarvan, the non-full lethality Jarvan, right? So.
Did you also see that just absolute burst coming into the bot lane as well? That was an absolute monstrous block spiding hit onto the center there, and even the Black Shield wasn't enough as he just gets absolutely eviscerated, including with Caitlyn's ace in the hole.
Yeah, some big damage coming out of EGM. We do see the Herald getting a charge off in the mid lane. ICL is a bit in a tricky situation, in a bit of a compromised position, but this is going to be interesting to see this game go on. If you just keep an eye on this one.
Like you said, Gurf, Kha'Zix is just having...
Oh, goodness. In the top lane, we have some action coming down. Dragon is picked up by EGM, but that's TP popped immediately. Senna ulti is blown as well, but Bless Express getting so low and is taken down. Now it's just Graham by himself with two members of VX. Still managed to find the trade kill on Aqua Anthony, but he's going to have to get on out of here as Caston is making his way up as well, too. Pizza's trying to take this Galio out, but I believe the Predator is popped. He's trying to zip around here as the Cataclysm comes down. Flag and Drag as well, too. ICL goes in, picks up the kill, but the trade kill onto Pizza, too. Picks up 2. Take a look in the bot lane. Final Spark comes out, and oh my goodness, Karibo takes out Scarlet 1. And that's the power of the follow-up from the Lux. Binding Deadly Peaches up there to find ECL, and that is the power of these wards. Just take a look at the vision across the map, and even just looking at the pings on your mini maps, is they have been tracking Pizza this entire game so far. So, like, again, another showing of how well EGM is actively playing this vision game.
And even they may be 1,000 miles away from each other, but they're playing like professionals this game, allowing just Daily Peach allowing to this position once again, just being able to do what he wants while the bot lane just absolutely eviscerating the Senate, even through the Black Shield coming in from the Morgana. The Karibo and Roto just absolutely just eating away, saying, hey, you may be defensive at this point, but we're still here to kill you anyways and take your money.
Yeah. Now a little binding going to go down onto Blessed Express, followed up with some more Chain CC, but you're not really going to be able to follow up on that one right now. Is EGM starting to collect some numbers in the mid lane. Graham is floating around on the backside of this, and we see him looking for another taunt. Will actually bait the Black Shield out of Happy Game. So that will be down for a little bit, but down by the Dragon. Ace in the hole comes down on TS Pizza, but Daily Peach is there to pick up yet another kill. 4-0-1 on the Kha'Zix again, and this is looking a little familiar after watching game 1.
It's just not what you want to see at this point. He's just able to walk all over Pizza. They're slowly inching, as you can see, onto the blue side of VX's map, slowly inching those pink wards forward into the jungle, slowly taking over like a creep in StarCraft if you ever played it. Nevertheless, though, I'm excited to see what.
I'm excited to see what happens in this top lane, because Aqua Anthony completely just not going to be able to. He might be able to get away from this. The final spark will force him to come on back. Those spikes will not land, but Daily Peach does not care about landing everything, because all he has to do is get into just the slightest amount of range, and he will just hack and slash you down.
Now, that was a great kill coming up. Just rotating back to getting that Galio kill underneath the tower, even though it was a 2 for 3 there onto the side of VX. Picking up that add a little bit of extra gold might be able to push him into the right direction. But at this point, just seeing it slowly fall apart like it did in game 1, it's very terrifying for any VX fans. Just literally relying on this Gaston to do something.
Take a look, bot, as that's going to be Blessed Express going on. The heroic entrance coming down, even though the Stand United is there. But reeling them on in, picks up the kill onto ICL. And now Aqua Anthony not able to deal with the 2v1 situation. Also gonna be taken down here, and VX again facing a very similar situation as they did in game 1, as EGM is up 12-3. 2 dragons to the name so far, and we're looking at about an 7.5k gold lead here at just under 18 minutes.
An absolute just wipe coming over there. That was a great utilization of the Heroics entrance, just able to make sure that that Urgot has enough time.
Ace in the hole comes through. Graham is having a bit of a party in the mid lane. Look how much damage he does to Charlotte. What?
Maybe I should go on that Predator Galio trade, because he's absolutely just wiping the floor with that with Senna here. I'm looking at this point. How are you feeling as a VX player at this point?
VX, it's got a little bit disheartening as the Cataclysm does come down, but scooped up by Bless Express. DS Pizza is going to go down along with Senna. That's a double kill here as Daily Peach does drop to the Morgana. Final Spark comes out, but flashed away by Aqua Anthony. However, caught up in the binding is Happy Game, and Aqua Anthony also taken out along the side. Another binding will come through, but Bardo support is here, and on the flank, Graham comes out of nowhere on a killing spree now. This is just absolute domination from EGM.
Like, I don't even know what to say at this point. I just looking at the scores, even though that was a fantastic.
Oh no, another binding. That's going to be the E as well too. But with Shelly coming on in, this is actually going to bunk this Cassidy up and really low, burning on down. Graham gets the kill there as the rest of VX are coming back, but doesn't matter because their mid inner tier tower is going to go down. Now we're at 4 towers to none, and EGM is on soul point.
Even though, and it's also...
take a look at this real quick. Sorry to interrupt once more, but DS Pizza is just caught up in his own jungle, and once again, Urgot is there to just sweep them off. Fear Beyond Death is used and finds a 3rd kill with that ultimate this game.
I'm lost for words at this point. It's exactly what you don't want to see. Caston R-ing for drift walking into the creeps there, trying to do as much damage to stop the push there, but it didn't matter. He rift walked right into a Galio top, just getting knocked up and CC'd to death to his death, slowing his progression even further. Even though his creep score is looking nice and fine, the Ocean Soul is ticking away slowly but surely, is coming back up for the side of Enigma, and I don't think that VX has any potential way to fight this off.
And yeah, this is such a risky position to be in. And we were talking about, in order for VX to have a shot here, to have their window of opportunity, they need to be breaking even going into this mid game. And what we're seeing right now is a 9k gold lead for EGM. Cassidy is level 13, but how do you get ahead? How do you find your window? How do you find your opportunity in a game that is just so far ahead and just very one-sided from our perspectives here?
Definitely. I'm just saying to myself, I'm trying to look for any way VX is coming back. Like you've been saying, Jerf, there's always a way to come back, but this game is looking more and more grim.
And I would also agree with you, right? If we had been seeing, EGM making these mistakes or being caught out warding or, doing those silly little mistakes that we lower elo players tend to get punished for. However, they're just a well-oiled machine right now, and I am seeing no cracks in the hull of this absolute tank of a team that's coming through. And we see them starting up this Baron at 21 minutes here.
And they have no idea. It's just absolutely crazy. There's no wards are going on Baron. They have no way to counteract it.
Oh boy, here we go. The Black Shield will block Pizza from getting taunted up there. However, all 5 of these EGM members wearing that purple buff, looking to push in and crack the base of VX, and we are just at 22 minutes, folks. So this is just that's showing Daily Peach goes over the wall looking for this Cassidy, and he will get him. One member of VX goes down as they're trying to stop Graham from getting that taunt. However, the inhibitor tower has fallen in the mid lane. VX base now officially cracked on open. Pizza getting jumped in. but will flag and
Got
drag
the
on
taunt.
out. Happy Game will go golden to avoid the taunt, but Aqua Anthony
Still-
looking to go in. Happy Game taken down immediately. Aqua Anthony trying to get on out to safety, but EGM now on the Nexus turrets of VX. It doesn't look like there's much hope in this one as EGM just showing up so strong in this series. It might not be done yet, as could see a couple resets coming through. However, TPs from both Graham and Plus Express, they are coming right on back. So Graham is going to be here very, very soon. Senna Ultimate has been popped. However, Aqua Anthony just ripped apart along with his jungler. Karibo picks up the kill on the Jarvan. And now this final Nexus turret is going down. That is an open Nexus. Only 3 members of VX are here to protect it as, Blessed Express getting low. ICL looking for it and will find the kill onto Urgot, but it's just not enough time as that Nexus goes down. And now EGM has game or match point. Oh boy.
Oh boy, Griff. I don't know what to say about these games. Like a nice and clean game 2 is saying we're kicking it into high gear. Giving me that Kha'Zix one more time. I'm going to show you what that's going to be ban worthy for the next game. Do you think, just coming off of that game 2, do you think that Kha'Zix is going to be banned, or are they going to disrespect it and see if they can pull up another gameplay?
You have to ban it at this point. I mean, you saw what he did game 1, and you were like, okay, maybe he just had a really good game. Okay, we got a repeat right here. Daily Peach again at the top of those damage graphs, and he went 6-1-6, one of the kill leaders on his team. So you need to ban it. He's everywhere on this map. He's out jungling, he's out CSing, and he's out ganking. So you need, if you don't have an answer for it in the jungle, get rid of it. It cannot be allowed through, or EGM is just going to do a repeat of what we've seen in game 1 and now in game 2. Take a look at that bot lane as well too. They went deathless. And I can see now why Kenshin was so about this bot lane from Karibo and Bardo's support, because they just absolutely cleaned up in that bot lane. So just well played across the map here for EGM.
And before we wrap up for my final thoughts, I just want to look at seeing VX's game plan, and I'm saying, what do we need at this point? I'm thinking we need some type of game plan with Happy as a nice roaming support, a super safe, maybe like an Ezreal as into the bot lane, so he can do what he needs to do to get this map on track. Start roaming with Pizza, getting some plays off, getting some potential into the mid or even the top lane, depending on who you want to carry the game, and just really start pushing it, because this is his final straw, match point. They really need to pull something off, and that's what we're here to see.
Yep, we're going to have to see what the answer is, because EGM's so strong in those first 2 games. VX needs to do something immediately, or else that will be the series, because we're at match point right now, same page, but why don't we throw it on back to the analyst to break this one down further?
Thank you so much, Gurf and Same Page. You guys did a phenomenal job, as always. And it's Enigma going up 2-0 here in the best of 5. Looking pretty scary, I do have to say. What are your guys' thoughts on what needs to change?
I just want to start out. I called it. It's EGM's just gonna win the next game. It's gonna be 3-0, easy clap. I mean, EGM just kind of looks unstoppable right now. It's kind of crazy, actually, like how good they look right now. And I don't know if I'm more or less impressed with the way EGM is playing, or if I'm impressed with, or if VX is underperforming right now. But either way, right now, EGM is just playing really well, playing like a team. Daily Peach has gotten Kha'Zix 2 games in a row. I don't know why they let him have it after game 1.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you just gotta hope you see some changes in the draft, because right now, like, something's not working for VX at this point. So you got to make some sort of crazy change, otherwise, it's just gonna continue.
And Kenshin, what do you think those changes should be for VX if they want to take a game off of Enigma?
Honestly, bench the jungler.
Okay,
Like,
maybe
literally, I don't... Like, why I predicted the series to be 3-1 was essentially I thought Extreme Berserker would play. I thought they could catch, like, a 3-ban jungler into a catch Hecarim on blue side, which is a champion that Extreme Berserker looked really good on.
Yep.
And he's not here. So I don't really see a way how they can win a game right now. And also, like, we saw game 1, EGM losing draft, Hard winning the game. Game 2, EGM winning the draft, absolute disgusting stomp. So, like, I mean, they are now red side again. So, I guess they might be able to cheese something out on the blue side. Like, either they can try to ignore the jungle, which would probably result in them facing a different jungler, might not be prepared for the change of playstyle. So at this point, they probably don't even want to change something up and just like go with the strat they had before. Just like maybe like choose one jungler they prefer to face over the Kha'Zix because the Kha'Zix is really unstoppable, and just try to like get a better jungler counter pick. What I really want to see is explosive early game from VC. Like just finally pick a jungler that does something. Don't go into that lame ass full clear path thing. Like play the lanes better. Like look, like just look at the map. Like finally gank somewhere. Like it's so crazy to just see these AFK junglings all the time. Like Daily Peach
Okay.
fucking jungle clears every single game full clear. Every
Language.
single game same. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just
Fine.
he can't keep getting away with it.
So strong words from Kenshin for sure. And Dream, what are your thoughts?
So I want to go back and I want to completely agree with Ravens man here. I think it's a combination of both EGM playing their absolute best, completely on point, and VX thinking this is just a regular season game. It feels like it. The way that VX is playing, it's completely different than how they played last week, and it's really disappointing to see. And they really need to come together and pull something out in this third game if they want even a shot of reverse sweeping. Because like the Kha'Zix has to go.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. I said it at the end of game 1, and I'm saying it at the end of game 2. If you want to have a chance, you have to get rid of the Kha'Zix. Have counters for something else that you're banning in round 1. And if you're blue side, then pick something that that you are banning in round 1. So that way you can take it away still and still ban the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, completely.
Other than that, without the Kha'Zix, I still think EGM is probably going to win the way that VX is playing. It's really disappointing to see a team that dominated so hard last week and dominated the regular split so hard to just falter at the finish line.
Definitely good points there. I gotta say, I did like the Kassadin pick and the kind of building the comp around it. I think the fatal and critical error in that was leaving Daily Peach Kha'Zix. They gave him something that can actually shut down and prevent from Kassadin from playing the game. If they had put him on, forced him on the Diana by banning the Kha'Zix and leaving Diana open, Kassadin can actually kind of deal with Diana, whether it be canceling the ultimate with the interrupt, or just a straight up 1v1 at most points in the game. So I think changing the draft a little bit in terms of what they were preventing for their own comp that game could have worked out in their favor. Anyways, guys, we are going to take a short little break as we set up for a third and possibly the final game, Enigma on match point here. But in the meantime, our player of the game poll will be live, so be sure to vote on that. Don't go anywhere, though, because we will be right back.
what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Oh boy, well, the
Wait,
Mutonautics strikes once again. Well,
I think that was the best ever Noah has done.
oh. Oh, well, you can't beat a classic, guys, but welcome back. Gerf and St. Page joining you for game number 3 and potentially match point here as Enigma back on the blue side, VX on the red, but again, we're powering through this pick and ban. And there's one we got to see here is our last pick, or I mean, our last ban from VX. And if it doesn't happen, I don't know what to say.
I'm gonna cry. Oh,
There it is.
There
Immediately.
it is.
Instantly banned. I think that might have been the speed record as that Kazik will meet the bench. However, the Vi is going to be coming through here for Daily Peach. We have seen it before, and that was the ban that was in place of the now Kha'Zix at this point. So another one of their strengths. However, you might have some more answers to what the Vi can offer, and I wouldn't say as scary as the Kha'Zix, but more in
Definitely.
terms of utility that can be offered to this team.
Now, completely agree with you. I think Vi is a much dangerous strategy if you're going lethality, where if you're shut down early, it's very hard to get back. I mean, as well as the Kha'Zix, but necessarily, I think the Kha'Zix is a lot scarier threat. Especially, I believe just Vi's pathing is a lot more linear in the sense of how she fights, but nevertheless, it's still a scary threat either way. Ezreal picking up, as they must have heard me crying through the atmosphere, picking up a nice same bot laner. But Dr. Mundo's picking up by Enigma here.
The Doc is coming out to play, and now the Senna picked up by Enigma as well too. But switching things up a little bit for VX, with the exception of that top lane, we're going to see a Trundle Ezreal this game coming from them. Now, as we move into our second half of this draft, what might we expect to see in the top and bot lane that's different than what we've seen in these past 2 games?
Man, I mean, I'm just looking for the bot lane for VX to hit a very, very high roam, high ganking support. Maybe necessarily, even though they were talking on the analyst test a little bit about putting on Braum duty, but I think Braum with Moby Boots is a fantastic roamer if utilized correctly. But I mean, there's always going to be other picks out there that does his job better, necessarily the case. I don't know. I'm just looking at that. I think that's a Trundle jungle. No, am I crazy?
Nope, you're right. I totally miscalled that. It's Trundle jungle, unless we're getting something crazy like a River Shen, switching things up. But for the most part, we've seen Aqua Anthony, being, I would think, the most consistent and solid laner in terms of how we look across VX. When we look up to the top lane, the only time we're seeing these big kills happen is when there are multiple people up there, especially when Daily Peach comes to gank. So in the terms of laning, I think Aqua Anthony has been very solid with that Shen. It's just unfortunate as a team situation that we've seen the results here for VX. But you could potentially get some more ganks going. That pillar can offer quite a bit of a inconvenience. However, the doctor picked
It's
up.
out.
I don't know if we've seen one of those before, but this is going to be pretty fun. And okay, hold up. We see-
That's. I don't know what to feel about this.
I'm curious to see where that's going.
I mean, potentially, like you said, this could be a Trundle Jungle game into a River Shen if you're really going to force it down our throats. Nonetheless, I predict it's going to be a Camille mid. But
I would say
nevertheless,
no.
it's still a triple flex.
Yep, there is the flex potential. Shen, these players could be going in many different lanes at this point, but my guess is it might actually be Shen going down into the support role for Happy Game. There is always that option as well too. We are going to see the Braum being hovered and locked in here for Enigma. So that pairing of the Senna with most likely is going to be a Glacial Augment and a Braum that just offers so much damn slow. And having this is my ideal path on Braum is to make sure that you have that approach velocity in your runes, because anytime someone's slowed, you're going even faster, which means proccing that passive even faster. And my goodness,
Syndra picked up.
Ram.
It's good.
Oh boy. Well,
Okay.
how this one's gonna go. That's some damage back and forth from the mid lane, but I am curious to see how this one's gonna go, because this Enigma squad is looking strong yet once again. As what are the answers that VX are gonna have here against this squad?
Maybe it's just come through picks. Maybe throwing the Camille top side as a strong top laner versus the Dr. Mundo, producing that true damage and really packing a punch through that armor and MR that Dr. Mundo is going to be carrying straight through the HP bar is going to be a good answer. The Cassiopeia onto the response of the Syndra is a little bit of a curious case, but nevertheless, if this is a River Shen or even a Trundle jungle necessarily, it's going to hinder the mobility of the Syndra to the point where they can maybe catch her out. But Syndra does definitely have a hard winning, or like at least a soft winning matchup into Cassiopeia here. Now, I'm just thinking to myself, maybe I'm overthinking it for a little bit, but what are the chances of this being a River Shen?
I don't want to say 0, but I would say more inclined to putting a Trundle in that position. This takes me back to actually watching Lunar Effects Trundle a few times, and how much presence and early game roaming that a Trundle can really pull off, and look for those level 2 ganks and get a pillar going to set somebody up nice and early for that snowball. But we're gonna see right now what it's gonna be. Camille up in the top and potentially Shen, but no, it will be the Trundle, which means that Shen, as predicted, going down into the bot lane. But looking at both these jungles, they're pretty mobile. They can get around this map pretty damn fast. So I interested to see which one of these two are going to be really taking those revenges, or who looks for that full clear versus first gank. We saw the different option there from Daily Peach actually going for the full clear in the start of that last game. But I mean, if you're going to be ganking, they need to go successfully, because every failed gank means an opportunity for the jungler to be looking on your side of the map to steal your CS, or potentially even a net gank on the other side of the map. However, Syndra and Cassiopeia, your thoughts, same page?
I'm always in a Syndra favor in the Syndra Cassiopeia match. The Syndra doesn't have any dashes or any real mobility that has to worry about getting canceled into that particular view, and unless the Cassiopeia can get her ultimate off onto the Syndra, Cassiopeia just has a really hard time getting into Syndra's face, especially with the Dark Sphere until the scatter coming in from the Syndra, really pushing back the Cassiopeia's damage. Nonetheless, the Trundle or the Shen roams coming into the mid lane is going to be a scary thought for the Syndra. But I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking back to game 1, talking about jungle v jungle. And unless Pizza is very, very, very comfortable with Trundle pillars, I believe Vi has a pretty nice time versus a Trundle just punching him like a body bag.
I just want to say one thing about this VX draft that I would like to have changed. We did see the Galio ban there as the R5 ban, the last ban there for VX. I think they maybe honestly should have picked him up as their R2 or R3. There was a chance for Enigma to pick that up for Graham again. We saw how well he did with the Galio last game. However, the Galio Camille combo there, locking somebody down in the Camille ult and then the heroic entrance on top, can be so damn potent for finding picks.
Definitely.
And especially having somewhat of the more tanky side to deal with the Syndra once she gets her Scatter the Weak, and I believe her ultimate is it's going to be coming through soon. I'll figure it out in a second. The Unleash Power, yes. That's a lot of damage to be dealing with as a Cassiopeia. So it's going to be a little scary hitting level 6, seeing how these lanes have gone, seeing that EGM has been very good at taking these early leads. And how do you deal with that coming into this game?
I definitely think this has to be a top mid side prio. Looking at just like I was saying, leave Scarlet on the Ezreal, making sure he's safe as possible. There's no real way unless he really gets caught out by maybe a Senna W into Roop or a Braum passive, where he can get really caught out. But he shouldn't really be able to be putting himself in that position where he can let Happy go roaming with the ultimate, go roaming with his taunt, maybe in early levels to catch the early laners off guard, and really put pressure on to getting that Camille ahead to that Dr. Muno, because everybody knows Camille, when she's ahead, is an absolute terror, just massive true damage, coming in left and right, and being able to pop squishy key targets like the Vi, and making sure this game is a clear-cut victory for VX.
Yeah, that would be the ideal situation here, but looking over at what EGM showed us now, they have a bot lane that is very suppressive in terms of what they can do. Mundo becomes pretty tough to deal with as this game goes on, and of course Daily Peach is going to have some really great ganking ability, so it is going to come down to which of these junglers are making those moves, and making the moves, not just making them, but making them successfully, pulling off these ganks successful, and at least getting a summoner or two out of these lanes to look to go back to them. But I'm you know what? I'm still gonna go with EGM this game. They're looking so strong tonight. They're just on the ball, and from what they've shown us so far, they're not letting up one little bit, and definitely want to be looking to just close things out this game.
And I completely agree with you there. It's just they're so dominant at this point, and they're really pushing the lead. They have the momentum going with them. They have such a dominant bot lane to really push Scarlet and Happy into a corner where they showed us in game 2 that they absolutely stopped. And I'm looking to see how Peach is going to stomp today.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how it all unfolds as we hop into the Rift after this short break, guys. But don't go anywhere, because you're not going to want to miss game 3.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LRS Premade Grand Finals in what might be potentially the last game of the split end the season for these two teams here. But oh, do we have a show here for you tonight so far? Because EGM is just showing up and showing us how strong they are as a squad